I want to thank you for this wonderful award on behalf of the non-drivers in California. Thank you. I'll be right back, just a second. Oh, God, I've got a pee so bad I could die. Hello, how are you? It's a wig. Now, where do I sit? Well, we finally got in the car. And not exactly the limo I was promised, of course. Oh, not that I complain, you understand. I don't know what they're going to ask me, but I got a lot of jokes, I guess. I don't understand this. It doesn't work. I guess if you pull it slowly, like she said. God, can you imagine? I've had skates. I'd been there an hour and a half ago. I got that line of hair pieces. I got this from the hind leg of a dog. I go by a tree and this whole left side goes up in the air. Will you fix the guy? I can't get the seat belt. Oh, I don't want to get in the car and complain. I was a labor organizer in a maternity ward for many years. I gave that up. I met a girl once had a boob in the middle of her back. God, she was ugly, but fun to dance with. Jesus, hello, Dolly. Oh, I've got it. Are we there yet? I had a little drink last night, if anybody knew. I had vodka and prune juice. It's called a pile driver. That worked. Jesus, God, it helped. You know, gets hard started. Dean would scream it, and he did. Dean was so blessed. My best audience, Dean was. You kidding me? Very funny, very sweet, kind man. I'm going to go shopping. Well, nothing I can use. Can you imagine a necktie out of this? My God. I just want to thank the B'nai B'rith for this wonderful award. Horny, can you get the joke? Hello, thank you very much. $14 shot for this piece of crap. These are my mustaches, chocolate, white chocolate, thank you. I don't sell them, I just had them made for you all today. Thank you very much. I thought they were going to be whoopee cushion. I swear to God I did. I swear to God I thought they were whoopee cushion. I was doing all these clubs and all the clubs that worked around in the nightclub, and I finally got on TV, and that's when they saw you for the first time, the public and the people who had shows. And there weren't that many comedians who had an act that they thought adequate for television, because most nightclub performers were a little more risque. But I did record pantomime, and then one day the record broke, and I haven't shut up since. And then I got to buy jokes. And then word of mouth gets around. Stars that you work for hire you to do 12 minutes to warm up the audience while the audience is drinking and coming in late. And then you just go off. But then someone sees you and says, oh, why don't we use him more? And then we got to do more, then they give you more time. And that experience started with Debbie Reynolds, first of all, in Miami Beach, Florida. I was working in a motel, and she saw me and then put me in her act on the road. And then that got longer with more material. And then more stars. And all the Miami Beach hotels was very hot at the time. And then eventually, you get on television, and eventually, Dean Martin's Greg Garrison sees you, and you get on the Dean Martin show because he used comics all the time. And then Phyllis Diller saw me and put me on her series. But on Dean's show, Greg made me a barber because he knew I wore the worst toupees in show business. And I did the hair. So I was a barber like Dom DeLuise, a barber. And then I was a barber hairdresser on the Phyllis Diller series. And that's how it got word of mouth. Oh, he's funny, he can do other things. And they take you on the nightclub tour with them. A lot of stars, a lot of nightclub acts. Judy Garland, we toured with Judy for a long time. And a lot of other stars. And then eventually, I worked with Jerry Lewis, naturally. And then I worked with, the last one was the longest time, was about 10, 11 years with Sammy Davis Jr. And then, because you fill them, but then you get more time and you become friends with them and they give you more time. And if there's something wrong that night, you go on a little longer, but which is how it works even today. And word of mouth is what it is I'm talking about. That's what keeps you going. Oh, he's funny and the price is right. But we didn't care. We would have paid them to work with them. I would have anyway, because they were such lovely human beings. But we all suffered the same thing. When we didn't do well, we'd panic and, oh my God, it's over. No, it wasn't. Jesus, we're still at it. That's how Lincoln died. Leave me alone. And that's how I met Dean, too. And she was so kind and funny. He was funnier than we were. And I love the fact that you never saw him till the moment of the show, because he never wanted to rehearse. He didn't have to. He was that good. Anyway, and that's how it happened. And then Greg used me on other things, and eventually I got to do a guest on the Peter Marshall had a game show where my dear friend Leslie Uggams was the co-host, and I had done a Broadway show with Leslie. We toured in Anything Goes around the country, and pardon me, and then that's how I got to meet Peter, and we became friends. And then here I am on the roast with Peter Marshall. And that was quite a surprise, because I don't remember doing it, but it was so funny because I had the worst way. I had a dead rat on my head, for God's sake. It was horrible. But they all knew, and I used it, and they made fun of me, which is what we do. Otherwise, I would have worn nothing. But props were easier to do rather than think of jokes. Like I have these one-liners. And then I had a very bad memory, so I used to have these written all over the place to memorize jokes. But the props helped better. Then they called me the king of prop, which is not really I didn't invent prop comedy. I couldn't remember the jokes, so I'd hold up a prop and read the side, for God's sake. Then Gleason used me a long time, and that was a running gag of the crying comedian, because I'd start crying. Everything happens. I'd walk out and just start crying. I don't understand. And all those faces and the mugging, and it was only 4 or 5 minutes. And then I got a running gag. Oh, he's the crying comedian. If they forget your name, it wasn't Rip Torn. And so now it's Rip Taylor. I don't get as many Rip Torns as I used to, put it that way. Another form of show business were the roasts. That's why it was so important to be on them. Because you weren't doing your act, you were just, reading jokes, I was. But you were looked at it in a different light. He must be good, watch, to be among them. You don't take it for granted. Oh my God, we're panic streak people before we go on. Panic that it's childish. It's what we do to ourselves. I don't know why. But then at the end, and even then, when you finish and they're going to the, did they like it? You get that security going too. I did my play recently, and every night before I went on, I said, is there anybody out there? You know, that's how secure we all are. You don't rehearse at all. You get your jokes. You talk to the producer and the director where you're going to do what you're going to do. Like I used props with the one you have, with Peter. I didn't use props on all of them, but I would tell him my jokes, and he says, yeah, or no, yeah. And that's how, when you never rehearse, because it made the spontaneity more interesting in case it didn't work, I think of a die line. Oh my God, one of those, or I start crying, or take the hair off. And that always is the last resort, which I may do today, we don't know. As the last resort, take the hair off and throw it at you. The best experience was all the people, the stars. Some of them did and didn't talk to you, which was fine. That was their choice. They weren't rude. They were working and busy and rehearsing. Then you never saw them much after, and very little before. Then after a while, and the more exposure you got, the more they hung out with you. I don't understand how that happened, but it did. They would call me into their dressing room, as of me saying, are you okay? You want anything? I wasn't brown-nosing. But that's how it happened, to get to know the people, that they're the same, we're all the same. Don't forget, I was the new one. I wasn't like the nightclub, the Red Buttons and the established great comedians, Milton and everybody. All of them, Jack, wonderful comedians, steady, solid. And who is this new kid? And they were helpful, but not, do this yet. I didn't ask for advice, and they never gave it. But you had to pass that test. But then after the show, said, good job, kid. And that's all you need to be told. And thank God. There you go. To be among and in the room with George Burns. Are you kidding me? I met George and then about 2 years later. He knew my name. Ripper, hey, Rick. He knew, he was a 99-year-old man and he knew my name. Norm Crosby. How in the hell does he remember it? That's all I want to know. But I follow it. I said, oh, wait now, oh God, it's brilliant, but how did they come up with that one? That's Norm Crosby and his lovely girl, his wife and my ex-wife were chorus girl dancers in Vegas and the Latin Quarter in New York. Jack Carter was the king, and maybe still is, the king of New York cabarets. He was the, people haven't seen him. I remember years ago, no, Cab Chateau Madrid, all these nightclubs in New York. The king, bang, smart, class, look, immaculate, funny. The king, then Miami, he was touring all over. The king, Jack Carter. She's nuts, she's crazy. On the Dean Martin thing, this woman's crazy. She would get away with stuff that you wouldn't think. She hit anybody with that bag. When she hit Sinatra, we all said, oh, Jesus, you're going to get killed tonight. Going to get hit in the face with the gun, going to get run over. And he screamed he loved it. When she hit you, you were in, pal.